practitioners to be involved in the selection of the board. The UPP continues, Madam Speaker, to wallow in the failed politics of the past. It is even proposed in this bill, Madam Speaker, that what should be at most a 2-year term of office could be as much as 5 years from the political appointments of the minister. That is clearly an untenable, politically motivated provision that has no place, Madam Speaker, in this legislation, and we demand that the board members be appointed not just wholly and solely by ministerial authority. After all, Mr. Prime Minister, after all, isn't this now the Obama age of enlightened governance? Madam Speaker, the bill also outlines in Section 4, subsection 4, the disciplines in which the board members should be qualified or experienced. And I repeat them for the benefit of the public: medicine, finance, nursing, hospital administration, public health, and public administration. Significantly though, Madam Speaker, there's absolutely no mention of business administration, even though the board will be required to function as a corporate entity,
Madam Speaker,
responsible for cost-effective delivery of its service mandate. But even more significantly, Madam Speaker, given the importance of establishing the capability to set up endowments and to raise funds, Madam Speaker, for specific areas of hospital operations, where is the entrepreneurial and business operation experience of the board to champion those critical initiatives? Have you not ever traveled abroad and seen the marble tablets and the gold beautiful plates on the sides of hospitals like Mount Sinai and Mayo Clinic and St. Mary's and Montefiore and John Hopkins? Persons, Madam Speaker, that would like to donate, like Mrs. Mellon or R. Allen Stanford or the Jumbibe people or whoever it is, the Hadid family or the Shaul family or whoever, Madam Speaker, that may wish to make a contribution. There must be some kind of mechanism. There must be some position on the board for persons with business and entrepreneurial experience. But, Madam Speaker, having gone to such great lengths to prescribe areas of the qualification and the experience for board members, what about the qualification and experience of the minister, who's being given today by this Parliament broad and sweeping powers to impose his political agenda on the operation of the board? We know that his tenure is short, Madam Speaker, and that all of their tenure over there is short-lived. But at this level, Madam Speaker, in all seriousness, of extreme incompetence, a lot of damage can be done in a short space of time. Madam Speaker, this is a minister who callously brushes aside more than 20 deaths from health service, and he just says, to quote him in his radio interview, oh, it's just a few cases. Just a few cases, Madam Speaker, where citizens have been suffocating to death, as the Honourable Member for St. Philip's North said. Bleeding to death, jugular veins have been cut in error. They've been perishing on operating tables. They've been collapsing and dying, waiting for casualty attention, and no doctors are there to attend to them. And, Madam Speaker, even little children have died from overdoses of wrong medication. Not to mention the large number of complications from negligence and the misdiagnosis that continue up to this very day. And you want to brush those under the carpet? And you come to this Honourable House and say we lie? Since my last report to Parliament, Madam Speaker, in December 2008, I made more examples to the list, but I know, Madam Speaker, how much discomfort my disclosures caused members on the other side. And so I will spare them the additional details at this time.
Honourable member, remember we're still waiting for that.
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
But through it all, Madam Speaker, the Minister insensitively and deceptively gives the public the impression that there's nothing to worry about. But unfortunately for the Minister, but fortunately for this beloved country of ours, the public cannot be fooled. As the member for St. John's, St. Philip's North just told you, the public can no longer be fooled. So, Madam Speaker, his attempts to spin and to deceive have no impact on people in this country that actually live the realities every single day of our healthcare failures with their families, their friends, and their neighbors. Is this the same Minister, Madam Speaker, we expect to have the capacity to act with due care and attention in the public interest on advice that you receive from the board? Is this the same Minister we are supposed to be relying on to specify in regulations the International Health Accreditation Agency that will define the organization and management standards of the hospital as provided, Madam Speaker, at Section 9, subsection 1? If the Minister is incapable now, Madam Speaker, of advising on the most prestigious accreditation body for the alignment of standards in the legislation, what will make him capable of putting it into the regulations, Madam Speaker? Is this the same Minister we expect to give proper policy direction to the board? The same Minister, Madam Speaker, that if truth really be told, he should have been relieved of his job for incompetence and negligence a long time ago, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the 1999 legislation, and I want to draw your attention to the 1999 legislation, Madam Speaker, and with your permission, we provided, the Antigua Labour Party provided, for policy directions by the Minister as follows, but I will quote it. I'll quote it. I'm quoting it. I don't know the section. I extracted it out of the Act. The Minister, I will quote it, Mr. Prime Minister. The Minister may, after consultation, well, ask them to get a copy of the law for you. I don't have the law here. Well, I don't. I apologize, Mr. PM. The Minister may, after consultation with the board, give general directions to the policy to be followed by the board. Listen, Mr. PM. In the performance of its functions as appear to be Minister to be necessary in the public interest. End of quote. The Minister, Madam Speaker, may, after consultation with the board, those are the key operative words, after consultation with the board, give general directions to the policy to be followed by the board in the performance of its functions as appear to the Minister to be necessary in the public interest. End of quote. What is now before us, and we have this today, let's look at this now, Mr. PM, because this is the one you really need to look at. Section 10, subsection 1, on page 9. You have that, Mr. PM? What is now before us is something completely different in terms of hostility to the principles of trust, mutual respect, and consultation that must of necessity guide the relationship between the Minister and the board. And I quote, the Minister may give general directions as to the policy to be followed by the board in the performance of its functions as appear to the Minister to be necessary in the public interest. And the board shall, and don't come here and tell me that shall is the same as may. Don't come here and tell me that shall is the same as may. I went to the